Hi everyone and welcome to another video. It's me, the Fragrance Enjoyer, and in this one I'm going to be talking about one of my most worn fragrances from the house of Clive. I will be talking about the fragrance called 1872, and this is the masculine version of the pair. There's also a feminine one. This is a 2001 release and the perfumer is Gesa Schön. As always in my reviews, in this one I will be going over the notes of the fragrance itself, the occasions where you can wear it, and also the performance and projection. Now, to kick things off, this is essentially a green, fresh, spicy, citrusy, floral fragrance. This is a very classic, modern, gentleman type of fragrance. It reminds me of the classics of this industry, you know, such as Givenchy Gentleman as an example. It reminds me a little bit of Creed Bordeaux Portugal, and, you know, fragrances that essentially come from this traditional masculine kind of vibe, but this one does it a bit differently. So this one has a strong focus on the florals, and if you look at the heart notes, which we will in a second, you will see that the heart notes are essentially all florals, which gives this fragrance a little bit of a twist, if you ask me. Now, to start off from the top, what you're getting essentially with this one is bergamot, lime, pineapple, rosemary, lavender, grapefruit, mandarin orange, nutmeg, and pepper. It's a beautiful, lively, fresh, citrusy opening that has this immediate component of pepperiness that's obviously coming from the pepper note, but you also have this little bit of a pineapple undertone that you can detect quite easily, especially if you're used to pineapple fragrances, you know, such as Aventus as an example. And you will start to notice the florals in about 15 minutes time, which essentially consists of clary sage, cyclamen, freesia, and jasmine. If I didn't know that this was actually made by Gesa Schön, I would have expected it to be made by Roja because of the florals that are used in the heart. It reminds me a little bit of the signature Roja heart. It's quite different though, but it shares certain similarities. But again, I think this is a compliment to this fragrance, if you ask me. What you will essentially see after 15-20 minutes after the opening from the top notes, you will see a beautiful, beautiful transition that's gonna happen between the fruity notes of pineapple, grapefruit, mandarin orange into the beautiful florals that I've just mentioned, and it's gonna add this component of sweetness to the fragrance, which is just beautiful. On my skin, it mixes with the citrusy opening and essentially creates this citrusy, sweet, kind of a musky aspect when it comes to this fragrance, mixed together with the rosemary, lavender, and pepper. So it still stays a bit of spicy and a bit of green throughout the wear of this scent, which is amazing, and which also embodies this typical masculine smell, you know, at least to me. Now, what you're getting after, I would say, about 3 hours of wear, you're gonna start to notice this prominent component of musk kicking in, together with patchouli, amber, frankincense, cedar, and labdanum, which, if you just look at the notes, I think it's one of the most beautiful note listings that you might hope to find as you know, being part of the base notes. And it truly develops into a really, really masculine, still spicy, still a bit fresh, still a bit peppery, musky scent in the dry down. Now, on my skin, it retains, I would say, about 10 to 20% of the sweetness that you're getting from the heart notes. It still kind of retains that in the base, but it's kind of overshadowed with, you know, the musk and the patchouli and the frankincense and cedar that will become apparent in the dry down itself. Now, when it comes to the actual performance of this fragrance, I think, as I kind of mentioned, you're getting about 3 hours of significant smell, which is quite solid when it comes to a citrus fragrance, but because of the added sweetness and the spicy components of the scent, it is again extended for another 4 hours, where it's going to be more of a skin scent. So in total, what I find on my skin, you're getting about 7 hours of performance when it comes to this fragrance, and it is going to project, I would say, 1.5 arms length for maybe 35 to 45 minutes, and afterwards it becomes more of a, and then again after 3 hours it becomes essentially a skin scent with the focus on musk, a little bit of the sweetness from the florals mixed in with the spicy nature from rosemary, pepper, and a bit of lavender. Again, it's also an old fragrance, and you can definitely smell that when it comes to the scent profile as well. In my book, this is a classic from the house of Clive. I think it is also well known in the community, and it is somewhat respected, I would say. But of course, as we all know, it is essentially overshadowed by the extreme success Clive has found with the two fragrances that are essentially topping the charts right now, which are Hedonistic and Blonde Amber, which are both amazing, and I will review them both in the near future. But when it comes to the freshies, this is one in the top 3 for sure from the house. Now, it's not close to the first spot, which I'll review quite soon, but it is very, very, very good fragrance, and one fragrance that I can recommend you to try. When it comes to the occasions and where you can wear this one, I think essentially all day, every day, I would say this one will work perfectly. Initially refreshing when you spray it on, and then afterwards it becomes a bit more sensual and a bit more masculine once it dries down. So from that perspective, you can essentially put it on right before you go to work. You can put it on before you go to the office, before you're meeting up with some people. So it's going to be a very classic, masculine, timeless fragrance, and from that perspective I think they have pulled it off quite well because of the scent profile and because of the typical masculine fragrance style that this harkens back to. I think this would be 25 and plus. When it comes to the age, obviously you can wear anything you want. So that has been my review of 1872. If you tried it, if you know it, if you own it, let me know. If you have any other suggestions from the house of Clive Christian, let me know. I believe at this point I've tried them all. I think with a couple of exceptions from the limited edition collections. But if you have any suggestions, let me know. And other than that, stay tuned for a couple of Clive Christian reviews coming in the next couple of days. And I hope to catch you in those.